So I just came across a video, and I feel like we as Black people don't acknowledge or speak on this enough. This gentleman was being clowned and ridiculed in his comments because he, at 30 years old, still stays with his mom. And everybody's like, oh, well, you should be embarrassed, da 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 da. Why? I think that we as Black people have gotten so used to certain programmed messages. What the fuck is this? That we as Black people have gotten so programmed with these hidden messages in this country. And I'm going to say hidden because there's always this underlying message, and I'm going to break it down in a second. But too many of us have heard, when you get 18, you get the fuck out of my house. Right? My mom said it like once or twice out of anger. But it was funny because she never actually did it. It was just her being irritated at some crazy shit that we did. My mom was a single parent of 6 kids. Too broke to pay bills on time, but made too much to actually get government assistance type of shit. So it always amused me, like, why didn't she? You know what I mean? It's like, shit, you got every right to kick us the fuck out, like alleviate some of them bills. But nah, she got older where she was supposed to be at retirement age and focusing on herself, and we all was grown out of freaking high school, and she still made sure she got her an apartment with enough bedrooms for her kids just in case we wanted to come by. You know what I mean? Spend a night, stay there, as long as we wanted to. She didn't have to do that. She just wanted to make sure that we was good because she loved her kids, and no matter what she say, out of anger or frustration, she will always be there for us. She was always one of those women that showed through actions. But a great majority of us have heard that you getting out of my house when you turn 18, and it baffles me because 9 times out of 10, the parent that's saying that is not teaching their child anything that they need to know to be ready for life or for that exit into adulthood when they're 18. You're planning to kick this child out at 18. They don't know anything about keeping up with their money, how they should invest, how to balance a checkbook, how to write a check, how to pay bills, any of that shit. Right? They don't know how to handle any real life situations, but you just want to kick them out because they're of legal age. What sense does that make? And then the household will sometimes be so toxic and so chaotic that the kids are just thinking, oh, when I get 18, I'm legally an adult, so I can do what I want to do. So therefore, I am going to leave out of this place. And they're envisioning something so beautiful and euphoric and just, you know what I mean? Just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have my own place and I'm gonna have it's laid out the way I want, and my friends can come over whenever they want, and blase, blase, blah, and get up, leave out when I want. You know how it is. You know what they picture. You know what we all picture, goddammit. But what the fuck does an 18-year-old really know about life to be ready to be thrown out there? Besides the immediate necessities of paying the bills on time and having, certain shit worked out for, when you get paid on this day, you want to make your money stretch because you don't know if something may come up in between that time frame, blah, blah, blah. They haven't set up certain habits of like saving and things of that nature. They are still immature, but those parents were taught that, or somebody I don't know where it started, but somebody put that message into our community, and it got perpetuated over time because they want our kids out there. They want those young, driven, mentally immature black young people out there in the jungle of the real world, because you're going to work your ass off to get everything, and you're going to lose it because you don't have the training, the mental dexterity, and the structure set up to actually keep some of the shit. Not saying all of you, not all of you, but 9 times out of 10, if that person leaves the house at 18, they're going to go through a shitty, rough road because, like I said, they haven't been taught anything. They don't have any structure. They don't have any idea of what it actually takes. And their parent, they're only seeing them snap because, oh, you got this light on all day, and why you got every light on in this house? I got to pay these bills. So you just know, oh, bills are stressful. I'm gonna pay my own bills. I'm gonna keep the lights off until, you know what I mean? It's certain little things that they'll pick up, but it's not something that they're actually being taught. You pick up what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like the message of kicking your child out when they're 18, although we can sit here and watch every movie or go to these white neighborhoods and you'll see that that's not reality. You watch any one of these movies, little fucking Lifetime or Hallmark movies, these people are able to come back, if they leave at all, come back when they're mid 30s after college, 30, 40 years old, and stay there until they want to leave or until their parents just get tired of them type shit, which is rare, but unless they one of those, lazy, entitled motherfuckers that don't like to clean up and is putting stress on a parent, then it just like the longer they stay, the stronger the parent get to push their ass out. But in most cases, that does not happen. This person is able to go to college, focus on their education, come back, make sure they don't have to stress about paying bills and working, and you know what I mean, while they're trying to focus on getting their career structured type shit. And we'll see this and we don't seem to pick up the fact that that's reality. This whole getting kicked out and leaving when you're 18 is idiotic. Especially if you have not taught your child anything. 9 times out of 10, these little boys are out here happy to say, man, I don't live with my motherfucking mama. Baby, you don't know how to go grocery shopping. You don't know how to shop for yourself. If you do got a car, your shit break down, your shit just broke down. You don't know how to fix nothing. You don't know how to clean up. You don't know, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know none of the necessary things of adulthood. And when you're not taught that, you have to go through the phase of learning that shit on your own, because then coming back at that age of 18, 19, after you've left, if you've taken a little sabbatical of being in the house, then you come back and you're like, man, da, 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 da. Then you're getting clowned. And they're not teaching you. They're just like, you ain't learned shit. What the fuck? You sitting at, you know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute, hold on. When did you sit me down and go, okay, listen here. This is what you need to do. Let me show you how to do this. And then let me see you do it just so I know that you got this on your own. We had a class in high school that taught us how to write checks, and we had to we looked at the check and he passed it around, and then we all had to draw our own checks. We had to draw a whole booklet of checks, and they had to be in numerical order, and then we had to go through the process of writing out checks to people as if we were actually conducting this in real life. Granted, I have not written a check in real life, but it's a skill that I actually, you know what I mean? I understand. But if these kids look at I saw a kid once who was like, not a kid, she was like 22, 23. She didn't know how to fill out a money order. She didn't know which line, and I couldn't laugh because although I had been taught that, I know way too many people that haven't. I know way too many people that don't know the necessities, and that's why I really genuinely thank God for my mom. And I don't know how the freak she found the strength, energy, time. It had to be love. That's it. But how she found the time to invest that time into making sure that she taught us certain things, even as much as etiquette as what we in our generation, because I'm 36, what we called code switching, they now call acting white. Even that, you feel me? Like, they don't teach their children that. Oh, you acting white. And then I watched a video of this woman on her child picking her kid up from high school, and this kid has a ankle monitor on because she's on house arrest. Red flags because of parenting, not for the kid, of parenting. Because that means that you're not teaching them certain things to at least know how to make the correct choices. Yeah, anyways. But the young girl gets on the phone and she's like talking to the ankle monitor, and she's telling the guy that basically she was going home, that she had tried to call somebody but the person hung up in her face, and she was just letting them know that the ankle monitor was about to be, that it was going low and she had to hurry up and she was going home to charge it. But the way she said, she was like, nah man, and the guy answers on the ankle monitor and she's like, I had just called Buddy is, but he had hung up in my face. I was trying to tell him that I was going to I was going to charge you now. And the guy was like, excuse me, would you mind speaking up? And I know he wanted to say, could you mind speaking a little more intellectually? Could you mind actually using a correct sentence, a full sentence? I don't know what the fuck. I'm not one of your friends. This isn't Facebook. This isn't Instagram. This is real life. And you have to know when to turn off that hood street shit and turn on your intellectual business mindset, even though it's not, a professional mindset, not necessarily business, but yeah, professional mindset and cadence. So the mom is in the background. She was like, you just got out of school. She's like, yeah, I just got out of school. I'm going home now to charge the thing. And he was like, oh, okay, well, just make sure you hurry up and charge it. My mom used to tell us, don't do no stupid shit when you out there, because you represent me. There is no more of that. I felt embarrassed as a black person, because it's like, god damn, not the ankle monitor, just the entire conversation, because you didn't teach your child how to conduct herself on the phone with certain people. Once you're outside of this friend thing, you turn on your brain. You turn off that slang and you start talking. And everybody want to be, oh, nah, I ain't finna fake it and be like, baby, you are not the hood. You are not the hood. You are not you know what I mean? Like, everybody, just because you come from the streets don't mean you have to be all the streets. Like, come on now. My mom literally had us on her only day off, goddammit. She should have been sleeping in. She literally had us in the dining room practicing how to give proper handshakes, how to make eye contact when you're communicating. And she told us why, not just to do it, but she broke everything down. Oh, you got to make sure you make eye contact, because a person is not going to trust you if you are not confident enough in yourself to make eye contact with them. If your person is talking to you and they looking down, they're more than likely lying, and they're very uncertain of themselves. You don't want to fuck with somebody like that. You don't. And she was very right about that. I saw it time and time and time again. I got my first job. Well, technically, I got my first job when I was 16, but 15. 14, 15. Anyways, but it was what, like, that was what a school thing, after school matters, but still I wouldn't have gotten that if I didn't know how to conduct myself properly. Then it was, the actual real world thing when I was working at what, Avon in Morton Grove or some shit. I got that because I knew how to, at 18 years old, how to conduct myself properly, how to conduct myself doing interviews, and how to dress and how to sit up straight and all this other shit. Do you know how many times I have gone to those like mass interviews and I've looked around and seen so many young people who look like they're just fresh out of high school, and they young men coming in there with gym shoes on and pants sagging, or jeans and a polo t-shirt, and they think that just because they threw on a polo t-shirt that's interview etiquette. Like, no, you ain't gotta wear no whole full suit, baby, but you gotta do better than that. And that just proves that someone was not in that household to, one, buy them and teach them these things growing up, but to look them over before they left out that house. My mom has certain things, and she made sure she let my brothers know, hey, you gotta have, when you get to a certain age, slacks, black, blue, khaki. You got to have at least 3/4 pair of slacks. You got to have you a nice leather jacket. You got to have you a button up, solid or checkered or plaid or whatever you want to say, but not something too colorful. Like, she broke it down. Y'all aren't doing this, and y'all are throwing them out there, and then you make fun of them because they don't know what they weren't taught. How do you know what you're not taught? You throw them out there and you think just because they saw somebody in their neighborhood dressed a certain way or talk a certain way that this is going to stick with them, that's what you're supposed to do. It's not. And even when those kids showed that evidence that they do not know, they don't take the time to sit there and be like, all right, look, baby, take the accountability and say, me as a parent, I apologize. I failed you. No parent wants to take that accountability once they do see that what they have been teaching their child or not teaching their child is affecting them in a long-term type of way. They don't want to take the accountability and be like, you know what, I apologize. Then I thought this was the right way. I'm starting to see that it's not. Let me take the time to show you what you need to do, because I want you to go further than I ever did, than your father ever did, than your uncles, your aunties, or whatever ever did, because you have to be the one to take care of us one day, or at least somebody in your generation. And if I don't teach you to be better, then you can't teach another person in your class or another person of your age to be better as well. You know how many times I've seen, and y'all see it too, these goddamn little boys that's out here, and it's usually one little cornball out the group, but the rest of them is the real, you know what I mean? Nah. And then when I say cornball, I don't mean like lame motherfucker, like he's the person that really likes anime, that has hidden talents, but he's going to hide those talents because he get clowned for it by his friends. But he hides those talents because he was not taught. Doesn't matter if it's a father in your life or not. It's not necessarily all on the father. It's just the parental figure or the people that are in your house, the adults that are in your house. Because I know me as an auntie, I have had a major role in my son Few's life. Like, he's only 13, but when you speak to this young man, you will feel like he has been here before. And it's because I have literally been talking to him about certain shit that my sister be like, he don't understand that, but he do though. This is gonna stick in his head, and I'm gonna be consistent with it. And I'm gonna, like, the word nigga, oh baby, that's a curse word to him. I had somebody called him a nigga once, and it was like, actually it was his daddy, called him a nigga. He turned around so fast, don't call me that. My name is Elijah. He was 6. Ain't seen that motherfucker since. But baby, once you teach them When you teach them and you encourage them and show them that they are better than what the society around our communities tell us we are, better than the news represents us to be, then you will have a fucking problem for the rest of the world. Not on your hands, you will have a fucking problem for the rest of the real world out there that is programmed, trying to program us to throw our children out there way too soon. Because the ignorant black person, once he fails, he's like, when that 18-year-old black boy out there that gets his place, let's say he does get his place and he gets out there, if he can't pay his bills, guess what his first thought is going to be? It's not going to be, let me pick up more shifts, or if he is doing it through working, it's going to be, let me hit this lick, let me get this quick money. Why? Because he wasn't set up with certain things. He wasn't taught, pay attention to the, weigh out the benefits against the rewards type shit. Think about the consequences type shit. He wasn't taught that. He was taught, get it by any means necessary. You the only person you can count on. And when that's coming from the person that gave birth to you, that is a fucking ground shaking thing. You have no idea how many intelligent and talented young black boys I have seen go down the drain. Actually, when I first moved to Atlanta, there was a boy from a outreach program that I was a part of, and this was one of those things that really encouraged me to take my time with certain kids, because not all of these kids are as bad as they present themselves to be, even as bad as they act. This young man name was AJ. And we had a program called the SLIP program out south, on like 101st or whatever. It was out there. So this young man, I spoke to after he ended up getting killed. Long story short, he ended up getting killed after the program had ended and shit. And it was outside of a McDonald's. And I spoke to one of the other mentors, or one of the other people that was running the thing, and I told her, I feel like we failed him. We as a community failed him because we let him slide by and did not demand him to do more. We allowed that young man to come into the program just because he wanted somewhere to go during the summertime, during the morning, because his mom was at work and she didn't want him sitting in the house all day. She told him to get out and do something productive. Nothing, no cue after that, but she, get out and do something productive. And he, not throwing any blame on anybody, I said we all are, but he ended up coming to the SLIP program because he had, had a connection with one of the people that ran the organization. And this, instead of her telling him, hey, look, you go in here and you do, you do what you got to do, because he really did listen to her. She didn't want to push too hard and make him leave, because he'll be quick to just walk out. But I feel like that was because he had the option to, and know that he would be able to come back. But he would go in the classroom, because we had those, it was a outreach program, and we were teaching kids things throughout the summer, and one of the things were film and editing and things like that, which I was a part of. And we had a little thing going around where we had the kids working on creating video projects or whatever, and they were sitting in groups and everybody was doing something, and then he came in and didn't want to do anything, but he saw, it was only because he saw everybody was already grouped up. And he came in and he sat in the corner and was playing on his phone, and then scooted up to the table and was interrupting the other kids playing. Other kids planning and what they were trying to do, and was, just interrupting the actual work that was going on. So I was like, either you're going to work or you're going to get out. Like, we're not gonna, no. And then me and him bumped heads at that point, and I let her know, like, look, if he's not going to be a productive part of this, don't send him in here with us, because he's only distracting the other kids. When in reality, he needed somebody to be more hands-on, to be like, look, come on, Not doesn't matter if it was a man or a female, and you know what I mean. It was like, look, I believe in you, up the bam. And there was one person who did a little bit more than some, but it wasn't as consistent as he needed. And I feel like had I, because I was a little closer to his age than the rest of the adults, had I been a little more patient with him, I could have possibly made a difference. But I kind of pushed him out because I'm like, you know what? I'm not, no. At the time, I was just entering my little area of spiritual growth, really. And I'm like, no, I was dealing with my own shit. I'm like, look, I'm not gonna put no energy into raising somebody else's child. You want to come in here and be ignorant, let that be somebody else's problem. You know what I mean? And that was my mistake. So, but like I said, every loss, it teaches you something. And that young man, I feel like we could have saved him if we all were more consistent and more attentive to him. And there are a lot of young black boys like that. There are too many young black boys like that, where they're just showing out because they don't have enough consistent attention. And then we discovered after he passed away that a year or two before, you know, he started downsliding, he actually was really good at certain things. He was not only just basketball, but he was good at science. He was good at reading. He was really good at cooking. And it was like, damn, we discovered this. And it was like, damn, we did not know him. Even, you know what I mean? One of the people that had knew him the year before did not know these things about him. And they was like, oh, damn, I didn't know he really liked to do this and liked to do that. And I'm just like, yeah, we as a black community, we failed him. And we as a black community continue to fail so many of our young black men and young black women because we keep either shifting blame or just moving the fuck alone or just pushing them out because we've had these subliminal or these perpetuated messages of, at this age you should know this, at this age you should do this, at this age you should be here, blah 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 blah. But it's only things that they push on our community. This is not reality. It's definitely not their reality. And when I say their, I mean the white tees. Y'all know what I'm saying. It's not real. We can't kick our children out of the houses, the communities, the whatever, before we prepare them with the appropriate tools and knowledge and skills that they need to survive that environment. So if you, to those people that are over 30 or over a certain age and still able to stay with their parents, you are blessed. That is a blessing. Hold on to that as long as you can. Value that parent as long as you know what I mean, as long as you have them in your life. Value them, baby. I mean, make sure they ain't gotta stress over nothing. You come your ass off work, I know you a little tired, but if you go in that kitchen and you see that them dishes ain't done and your mama been running away, whatever the hell she been doing, wash them dishes. Take the garbage out. Do whatever little thing you can do to alleviate their stress without having to be asked or begged. Just because she's allowing you or he's there allowing you to stay there does not mean that they're obligated to do so. They're doing so because they love you. And you should cherish that because it is a very rare thing in our community.